Good evening, my friends. Tonight, I want you to begin with something simple, yet deeply powerful. I want you to bring a memory into your mind. Not just any memory, but a moment from your past that carried real happiness. A time when something beautiful happened, a moment of success, love, peace, excitement, or pure joy. Think of a day when life seemed to work perfectly, when something you wanted became real and you experienced it fully. Now, notice something important about that memory. You are not trying to convince yourself that it happened. You are not hoping it becomes true. You are not chasing after it or forcing yourself to believe in it. The memory simply exists. It carries a quiet certainty because it is already complete. There is no struggle attached to it. There is no waiting. There is no question. It happened, and because it happened, it is permanently real within you. Stay with that feeling for a moment. Feel the calm confidence of something that is already finished. Feel the effortless knowing of something that no longer needs proof. Now imagine bringing that same feeling to your desires, not seeing them as something that will happen one day, not placing them somewhere ahead of you in an uncertain future. Instead, experience them the way you experience a meaningful memory. Feel them as something that has already become part of your life, something you can look back on with gratitude and say, I remember when this happened. This is one of the deepest ways to impress your subconscious mind. It appears almost too simple, which is why many people overlook it. But once you truly understand and practice it, you begin to see manifestation from an entirely different perspective. I call this the technique of the thankful past. First, understand the mistake most people make when they imagine their desires. When you want something, where do you usually place it? You place it somewhere ahead of you. When I have more money, then I will feel secure. When I find the right person, then I will feel loved. When my business grows, then I will finally feel grateful. When my health improves, then I will feel peaceful. Without realizing it, many people spend their entire lives placing happiness, success, and fulfillment somewhere in the future. It feels normal because desire naturally seems connected to something that has not arrived yet. But there is a hidden message behind this habit. Every time you place your desire in the future, you are also reinforcing the belief that it is not yours right now. You are telling your subconscious mind that the thing you want is still missing. The future, when viewed from a place of longing, becomes a symbol of absence. And when that feeling of absence is repeatedly impressed upon the subconscious through constant hoping, waiting, and wishing, the subconscious continues to create experiences that match that state. Your subconscious mind does not respond to what you simply say you want. It responds to the assumption beneath your words. If the assumption is, I do not have it yet, then that is the message being accepted. I am waiting. It has not happened. It is still coming, and life reflects that state back to you through more waiting, more delays, and more moments where you feel close but never fully there. This is the cycle that keeps many people stuck. But the way out is not by trying harder to imagine the future. The way out is by changing the way you relate to your desire. Instead of looking forward with uncertainty, learn to look backward with gratitude. Your subconscious mind does not understand time the same way your logical mind does. It does not respond to statements like, I will become, I am going to have, or someday this will happen. Those phrases belong to a person who is separated from what they desire, someone who is reaching towards something they believe is not yet theirs. The subconscious responds to accepted beliefs. It responds to what feels like a fact. I am, I have, I remember. These carry a completely different energy because they represent ownership and completion. But there is something even more powerful about remembering. The past carries the feeling of being finished. When something belongs to your past, there is no need to chase it. There is no need to convince yourself. There is no effort involved. It simply exists as something that happened. And this is where the hidden power of the thankful past begins. Your subconscious mind cannot separate a real memory from a vividly imagined experience that you accept as a memory. To the creative part of your mind, both are impressions. Both are experiences you have emotionally accepted. Think about every memory you currently have. Every event you remember from years ago was once only a thought, an imagination, or a possibility before it became something you experienced. So why not reverse the process? Why not create the memory first and allow your physical reality to move into harmony with it? This is not pretending. It is not ignoring your current circumstances. It is not escaping reality. It is understanding that imagination is the beginning of creation. The inner world comes before the outer world. Let me explain the difference between imagining something in the future and remembering something something as already completed. When people visualize a future desire, there is often a hidden feeling underneath it. Even if the image is beautiful, there can be a subtle sense of effort, a feeling of trying to reach something, a small distance between who you are now and who you believe you will become when the desire arrives. That invisible distance is the feeling of separation. It is the feeling of not yet. Your subconscious does not create from the picture alone. It creates from the emotion beneath the picture. It responds to the state you are occupying while imagining. Now compare that with a genuine memory. Think about something wonderful from your past, a moment that brought you happiness. Do you feel like you need to make it happen again? Do you feel like you are waiting for it? Do you feel like you need to prove it was real? No, you simply know. That happened. I experienced that. It was mine. It is finished. That calm, effortless certainty is the exact feeling this technique is designed to awaken. The goal is not to force belief. The goal is not to repeat words without feeling. The goal is to enter the state of someone who is remembering a blessing that has already arrived. When your desire feels like a memory, your mind stops searching for it. You stop chasing. You stop asking when. You stop living from the feeling of lack. You begin to live from gratitude, and gratitude is the natural emotion of something already received. This is the power of the thankful past. You are not waiting for your reality to change before you feel fulfilled. You are allowing your inner state to become the evidence that your desire is already accepted within you. Not in a future you are waiting for, but in a past you can remember. When your subconscious receives the signal of something already completed, already experienced, already received, it naturally moves toward creating circumstances that reflect that assumption. The subconscious does not question the state you give it. It simply responds by matching the belief you consistently hold. Tonight, before you fall asleep, choose one specific desire. Not a vague wish for your life to improve, but one clear outcome that you can build a mental scene around. Instead of imagining your desire as something that will happen in the future, create the feeling of remembering that it already happened. Place the event somewhere in your recent past. Maybe it happened a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, maybe even just a few days ago. Choose whatever timeline feels most natural and believable to your mind. The important thing is that you are not forcing yourself to accept it. You are choosing a moment that allows you to experience it with ease, as if you are genuinely looking back on something that already became part of your life. Then create the scene, but do not imagine the exact moment when you receive what you want. Go beyond that moment. Imagine yourself after it has already happened. Imagine yourself living normally with the desire already fulfilled, reflecting back on the day it became real. The feeling should not be excitement from waiting for something to arrive. It should be the calm warmth of remembering something that has already taken place. For example, if your desire is financial abundance, imagine yourself sitting peacefully, perhaps drinking tea, thinking back to the day the money came into your life. You remember opening the message. You remember the feeling in that moment. You remember your hands trembling slightly because you could hardly believe it was real. You remember saying to yourself, "This actually happened." You remember calling someone you love and sharing the news. You remember their surprise and happiness. If your desire is improved health, imagine yourself looking in the mirror and remembering the moment weeks earlier when you received the confirmation you had been hoping for. You remember the conversation. You remember the words that changed everything. You remember walking outside afterward and sitting quietly because you needed a moment to process the relief. You remember thinking, "The healing I was waiting for is now something behind me." If your desire is restoring a relationship, imagine yourself having coffee and reflecting on the day that person reached out again. You remember seeing their name appear on your phone. You remember hesitating before answering. You remember hearing their voice after so much time had passed. You remember the silence at first because neither of you knew what to say. You remember thinking, "I cannot believe this moment is finally here." And now, weeks later, it feels normal. It feels natural. It is simply the way life is. Now let us talk about the special quality of gratitude that comes with this technique. There is ordinary gratitude, and then there is the gratitude of the thankful past. Many people practice gratitude by saying things like, "Thank you for what is coming," "Thank you for what I am about to receive," or "Thank you because my desire is on its way." This can be powerful because it changes your emotional state. But the gratitude created through the thankful past is different. It is the gratitude of someone looking backward. "I am so grateful that it happened when it did. The timing was perfect. I am so relieved I no longer have to carry that worry. I am thankful everything worked out exactly as it needed to." Feel the difference in those words. This is not gratitude based on expectation. This is gratitude based on completion. It is the feeling of someone who has already received the answer. Someone who can finally exhale because the struggle is no longer ahead of them. It is already finished. That feeling of relief, that warmth of looking back at a challenge that has been resolved, sends a powerful message to your subconscious. The message is simple: this is done. Your subconscious mind does not operate from the same perspective as your logical mind. It does not live in a constant state of future planning. It responds to the reality you accept internally. It takes the assumptions you repeatedly give it and builds from them. It influences your actions, your awareness, your decisions, your reactions, and the opportunities you recognize. It helps shape the way you experience the world around you. When your inner belief is, "I hope this happens," you continue living from the state of hoping. When your inner belief is, "I am trying to believe this is coming," you remain connected to the state of trying. But when your inner conviction becomes, "I remember when this happened," and you experience that belief with the emotional depth and sensory richness of an actual memory, you begin to embody the state of someone who has already received. And that is the power of the thankful past. Your subconscious mind creates the experience of already having received because it responds to the state you consistently embody. It begins to organize your thoughts, choices, actions, and awareness around the assumption of completion, creating circumstances that reflect the accomplished fact you have accepted within yourself. Not because of some mysterious force, but because this is the same principle that has been operating throughout your entire life. The difference is that now you are learning to use it consciously, intentionally, and in a direction that aligns with what you truly want to experience. When you enter the memory, when you have created the scene clearly enough that you can feel the environment, hear the sounds, and experience the emotions connected to that fulfilled desire, include something deeper. The relief that comes from knowing the waiting is finished. Not only the excitement of receiving, although that feeling may be present too, but the peaceful relief of someone who spent a long time hoping, wondering, and questioning, and can finally release the burden. Feel yourself saying, "I used to check my phone every morning, hoping for this message, but I don't need to do that anymore." Or, "I used to wake up in the middle of the night worrying about this, but that chapter is finished now." This contrast is incredibly powerful. The difference between uncertainty and certainty, the difference between waiting and having, the difference between hoping something will happen and knowing it already has. There is also a deeper truth behind this entire technique that changes the way you understand creation itself. The past is not as fixed as you have always believed. Within consciousness, within the creative space where all experiences begin, the past exists only through your present awareness. When you remember yesterday, you are recreating that memory in this present moment. You are imagining what you believe happened, and that act of remembering is happening right now. The present moment is the only place where imagination, thought, and experience can occur, which means the past and the future are both connected to consciousness, both exist through imagination, and both carry creative potential. Just as you can imagine a different future, you can create a different relationship with the past by forming the memory of a moment when your desire was fulfilled, making that memory vivid, experiencing it emotionally, and stepping into it completely. So tonight, before you sleep, practice this. Choose one desire, make it specific, and close your eyes to move backward in your imagination. Travel to a moment a month ago, 3 weeks ago, or whatever feels natural, a time when your desire had already become reality. Do not imagine the exact instant of receiving. Imagine the ordinary moment afterward, the moment when fulfillment has become normal, the moment when you can honestly say, "This is simply my life now." Build the memory. Where are you? What room are you sitting in? What time of day is it? What are you wearing? What sounds surround you? What can you smell? Who did you speak with? What did you say? How did they respond? But most importantly, feel the emotion of looking back and realizing the waiting is over. The uncertainty is gone and the struggle is behind you. Feel the relief, the warmth, and the quiet gratitude of someone who is no longer searching because they have already received. Your subconscious recognizes relief as a true signal of receiving. Hope is the emotion you feel before something arrives, but relief is the emotion you feel after it has already arrived. Because your subconscious creates from your emotional state, it naturally moves towards circumstances that reflect the feeling of after, the feeling of completion, satisfaction, and having already received. The deeper truth beneath this technique is that the past is not as fixed as you have always assumed. We usually think of the past as permanent because it has already happened. But within consciousness, the creative space where every experience begins, the past exists only through your present awareness. When you remember something from yesterday, you are not opening a permanent recording stored outside yourself. You are recreating that experience in your mind right now, and that act of imagination is happening in the present moment, the only moment where anything can truly be experienced. This means the past is no more fixed than the future. Both exist through consciousness. Both are experienced through imagination. Both carry creative power. The subconscious does not separate memory from imagination the way the conscious mind does. It responds to the feeling, the tone, and the certainty you bring to an inner experience. If you repeatedly return to a memory with a new emotional meaning, you begin to reshape what that memory represents within you. Just as you can imagine a different future, you can also create a different inner relationship with the past. You can form the memory of a day when your desire was already fulfilled. You can make that memory vivid. You can give it emotion. You can step into it completely. And when you do, your subconscious accepts it as a completed experience. And from that accepted state, it begins to shape your thoughts, actions, awareness, and experiences in harmony with that assumption. You are not creating only from where you currently stand. You are creating from the state you have accepted within yourself. The present moment becomes the bridge between the imagined past and the reality you are experiencing now. This is not about tricking yourself. It is about recognizing that memory and imagination come from the same creative ability. One appears to move backward through time. The other appears to move forward. But both are created within the same place, your consciousness. And when you direct this ability intentionally, with genuine feeling and belief, it becomes one of the most powerful creative tools available to you. The more naturally you inhabit the feeling of fulfillment, the more easily your mind stops resisting it. You are not forcing a result. You are allowing your inner state to become so familiar that it begins to feel like truth. So tonight, before you sleep, practice this. Choose one desire and make it specific. Close your eyes and travel backward in your imagination to a moment a month ago, 3 weeks ago, or whatever feels natural to you. A moment when your desire had already become your reality. Do not imagine the exact instant when it happened. Move beyond that. Imagine the quiet, ordinary moment afterward. The moment when fulfillment has become normal. The moment when you can look around and think, this is my life now. Build the memory. Where are you? What room are you in? What time of day is it? What are you wearing? What sounds surround you? What can you smell? Who did you speak with? What did you say? What did they say in return? But most importantly, feel what it is like to look back and realize that the waiting is finished, the uncertainty is gone, and the struggle is behind you. Feel the relief, feel the warmth, feel the peaceful gratitude of someone who no longer needs to search because they have already received. Stay inside that memory until it stops feeling exciting or distant. Allow it to become natural. Allow it to feel ordinary. Allow yourself to simply know, yes, that happened. Then fall asleep within that feeling, not hoping, not reaching, not trying to pull something toward you, but remembering that it has already been accepted within you. For so long, you have placed your desires into a future that always seems to remain ahead of you, as though fulfillment must arrive from somewhere outside of you, and only after enough time has passed. Tonight, place them into a past that feels complete. Let your mind rest in the quiet relief of a struggle already finished, in the gratitude of a gift already received, and in the peace of looking back at the moment when everything changed. Trust this feeling with the same quiet certainty you give to every other memory you carry, because what you accept within imagination can become the experience you eventually recognize in your life. The memory you create within can become the reality you live through, and one day you may look back with amazement and realize that the past you imagined became the past you truly lived. You do not have to spend your life waiting for your desire to arrive. You only have to remember that within consciousness it already has. The moment you stop standing outside of your desire and begin living from the feeling of already having it, something changes within you. You no longer approach life from the position of someone searching. You no longer carry the identity of someone waiting for permission, waiting for proof, or waiting for circumstances to finally become different. Instead, you begin to move through life as someone who has already experienced the fulfillment they once hoped for. And from that inner shift, your thoughts become different, your reactions become different, and your choices begin to come from a different place. You naturally begin to notice opportunities, possibilities, and paths that match the assumption you have accepted internally. And the outer world begins to reflect the inner state you consistently occupy. This is why the feeling behind the imagination matters more than the image itself. A picture without acceptance is only a wish, but a memory filled with certainty becomes an inner experience. And the experiences you repeatedly accept within yourself become the foundation from which you create. So tonight, when you close your eyes, do not ask, when will it happen? Do not return to the feeling of waiting. Do not search for signs that it is coming. Instead, enter the quiet state of someone who already knows. Remember the moment when everything changed. Remember the day when the answer arrived. Remember the version of yourself who no longer carried the same worry, fear, or uncertainty. Feel how peaceful that person is. Feel how natural it is. Feel how ordinary fulfillment has become. Because the greatest shift happens when your desire stops feeling like something separate from you and begins to feel familiar, accepted, and part of your story. The thankful past is not about forcing reality to change. It is about changing the inner state from which you experience reality. It is about becoming the person who can honestly say, I remember when everything changed. I remember when it finally worked out. I remember when I received what I once prayed for. And when you can feel that statement as true within yourself, you have already begun the most important part of the process. You have entered the state of fulfillment. So tonight, let go of the habit of waiting. Release the need to know exactly how or when. Rest in the feeling of completion. Fall asleep with gratitude. Fall asleep with peace. Fall asleep remembering. Because the moment you accept it within, you begin to create the path toward experiencing it without. And as you continue to return to this inner memory, something begins to shift within you. The desire that once felt distant starts to feel familiar. What once felt like a dream begins to feel like something that naturally belongs in your life. You are no longer approaching it as someone who is waiting outside the door, hoping it will open. You begin to experience yourself as the person who has already walked through that door. The emotional distance begins to disappear because your mind no longer sees the desire as something separate from you. It becomes a part of your identity, a part of your inner story, a part of the reality you have already accepted within yourself. The more you return to the state with calm certainty, the more natural it becomes. And what feels natural within you eventually influences the way you think, act, and move through the world. The power of this practice comes from the fact that your deepest beliefs are not formed only by what you logically understand. They are formed by what you repeatedly experience emotionally. Your subconscious does not measure time the way your conscious mind does. It does not ask whether something happened yesterday, tomorrow, or years from now. It responds to the feeling you repeatedly impress upon it. When you return to the feeling of already having received, you are teaching your mind a new assumption. You are telling yourself, this is no longer something I am chasing. This is something I know. And from that inner certainty, your actions begin to change naturally. You may find yourself becoming more confident, more open, more aware, and more willing to move toward opportunities that match the state you have chosen. The greatest transformation is not only that your circumstances may change, but that you change first. Many people wait for external evidence before they allow themselves to feel peaceful, grateful, or fulfilled. They believe happiness must come after success, confidence must come after achievement, and security must come after receiving what they want. But this technique reverses that pattern. You begin with the feeling, you begin with the assumption, you begin with the inner experience of completion, and from that place, you no longer make decisions from desperation or fear. You begin responding from a state of trust and clarity. The person who already feels fulfilled does not move through life searching for proof. They move with the quiet confidence of someone who knows they are supported. Remember that the most important part of this practice is not creating a perfect mental picture. You do not need to force every detail. You do not need to strain your imagination or convince yourself through effort. What matters most is the feeling of certainty, the feeling that the struggle is behind you, the feeling that the answer has already arrived. Even a simple inner scene, when filled with genuine emotion, can become powerful. A small moment of peace, a quiet smile, a simple thought of gratitude, a feeling of relief when you realize the thing you once worried about is no longer a problem. These small emotional impressions are the language your subconscious understands most deeply. So as you continue this journey, remember that you are not trying to become someone worthy of receiving. You are remembering the version of yourself who already knows what it feels like to have received. You are stepping into the identity of the person who has moved beyond waiting and into acceptance. Tonight, allow yourself to rest in that state. Let the feeling become familiar. Let the gratitude become natural. Let the memory become so real within you that it feels like something you have always carried. Because the moment you stop living from the question of when will it happen and begin living from the certainty of I remember when it happened, you create a completely different relationship with your desires, your life, and yourself.